The work was inspired directly by a trip that I took to Mogo, a small town on the south coast. Standing in the aftermath of the fires, it still continues to give to us, and it's accessible, the kind of a love that's in the landscape. So I kind of wanted to grapple with the duality of sorrow and love. My name is Nicole Kelly, and the title of my exhibition is Solastalgia. Well, the term refers to distress caused by loss of a comforting place and essentially climate anxiety or climate grief. And I think for me, a large part of the work is processing my own solastalgia, particularly after the Black Summer bushfires, but also just an ongoing environmental concern. I grew up in southern Sydney in Engadine, between the Royal National Park and Woronora Reserve. A relationship with the landscape or nature has been a huge part of my childhood and into my adult life. So I think the way I view the world and respond to nature, and very much the way I paint landscape, comes out of those early formative years, I think, growing up around here. So the installation is made up of a 14-panel painting, as well as just over 200 ceramic trees. The 14-panel painting is wrapped up in a circular formation that, for me, from the exterior, echoes the shape of a tree, and you can sort of see, because I painted on wood, the wooden grain beneath the red stain on the outside. From inside the painting, the form sort of acts as an embrace, which for me references the feeling of being in the landscape and that kind of nurturing feeling. I don't bring any photographs into the studio. I work always from my pen drawings or small paintings. So a lot of the colour is actually worked from memory and invention, or as it kind of evolves in the studio. It's very much the kind of piecing of colour together and responding to what's happening in front of me, rather than a literal representation of colour. With the ceramic pieces, first they're bisfired, and then I paint them with something that's called terracige, which is painting with clay essentially, and I'll add some stains in as well. Then they're fired in a saga fire, which goes into a sort of drum into the kiln, and I've sort of really have no idea how they're going to come out until they do come out of the saga fire. And saga fire is using smoke almost to create the finish, which is not controllable. So I've really enjoyed the lack of control around that. Both the painting and the ceramics explores kind of fracturing and a brokenness of sorts in their forms. With the ceramic pieces, there's a lot of broken pieces that have been hung broken, and some have been pieced back together. So within the painting, there's a fractured nature to both the mark making and the imageries. Fragments of interior landscape and figure are sort of mashed up, and the figures don't particularly relate to each other. I'm kind of, really exploring the broken and the fractured in both forms, I think. If my painting can remind audiences of a connection to the environment and a love for that environment, I think it's love that is what makes us act. So that's kind of what I want to give more than pain and more than loss. I actually want to remind audiences of a connection and love for our environment, so that they're more empowered to act, do what we can.